I mean, it is a very big deal for them to double the production of Apple in India. This is mostly assembly, but frankly speaking, it's gone from nowhere to just about 20% by the end of this year. So, I mean, last year, it's just a big number, frankly, and it was surprising to us at this point.
I'll tell you what's surprising to me is you actually shaved. You found your razor, and he shaved off his beard. So I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah, I was like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, Anurag, so in reality, though, how do you and how does the street think about Apple's ability to, I don't know, reduce to some degree its kind of reliance on China as a end market, as a source in its supply chain? How does the street get comfortable with that?
See, on the other hand, I do want them to stay in China because that is their biggest growth market. That's the market where they have the most, phones out there right now. I don't think people understand that they have more iPhones as an install base in China than they have anywhere else in the world,
Really? I
and
didn't know that.
yet their market share in that area is only 20%. So for me, that's a very important end market. Decoupling is not going to help Apple's growth story.
But does it help? Okay, it doesn't help its growth story, but does it help it manage tariff and margin pressures over the next, say, few decades, though?
Yes, it does. But at the same time, Apple is a company where it has navigated the Chinese politics very well, probably better than anybody else out there. Now, if they decide to say, okay, we're going to take a lot of this capacity and move it outside, I do not know what kind of backlash there's going to be by the Chinese government or the Chinese consumer.
Right.
Now, we'll find out what that happens. But, for me, it's an important piece of the growth story. Roughly 17 to 20% of their revenue comes from China. And as I said, it's a massively underpenetrated market for them. The US market, fairly saturated, frankly.
All right. So, Anurag, in a world that is kind of reeling from trade uncertainty, global trade uncertainty emanating from all the tariff talk, is there a place in technology to hide?
That's a very good question. When you look at the direct impact, Apple is the one with the highest direct impact. There are other companies that really have no major exposure to China. I'm going to bring up Microsoft as one of those names. And this is where I think they will show, I think, the street over the next 1 to 2 years that their growth rate will continue irrespective of what's happening to the macro because of all the investments that they are putting in Gen AI. I think that story is still not fully understood by the street just because all the investments they are making, people are only considering capex. But I think they're going to go ahead and take more market share in cloud just because of all these investments.